Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Deluxe Class Waspinator from Transformers Kingdom War for Cybertron Trilogy. Can I just say it's nice to finally have Waspinator. I mean, he's a pretty core character. He's been there since the first episode, makes it all the way through to the end. I guess spoilers, sorry. 25-year-old show. But in any case, he's a very core character, so I can't believe it took us to get Wave 4 to finally get him in the line. Seems crazy to me. It could be because we had one back in the Gold Box or Thrilling 30, whatever you want to call that line at this point. So we have had an updated Waspinator, but I mean, we've had plenty of updated characters from Beast Wars, so that should not have stopped them. In any case, we finally have him. I'm very excited. Artwork on the box, very, very cool. I love this robot mode. Wasp mode over here looks fantastic. Tiny little window with the figure inside. They always look so small inside these boxes now. I don't know why, but they just look so small. Anyway, over here on the side, we have the kind of kingdom picture that we always have. Not too much going on the bottom or on the top. Get a nice Predacon symbol there. And then spin around to the back, and of course we have the robot mode and the wasp mode. So pretty standard packaging, but really nice artwork here on the front. I'm going to go ahead, get him out of this box, and we'll take a closer look. So here's Waspinator out of the packaging, and he's okay. He definitely feels a little bit shorter, though, like on the smaller side. Here is his wave mate, Shadow Panther, for comparison. And he's definitely shorter. Not by a ton, maybe like a head shorter. But yeah, he's a little bit on the smaller side. I don't love the giant insect pieces just hanging off the side. I wish you could just remove them. They look good in the wasp mode, they do, but I hate having them just hang off the side here, because I feel like especially these, the arm ones don't bother me as much, but these ones on the leg really get in the way when you start trying to move the arm around and stuff, and it feels like it's really just everywhere, and I don't know, I just don't really care for that. The wings look pretty good, nice translucent purple. If you want to kind of angle them down and just hide them on the back, something like that, you certainly can do so. They're all in these little ball joints. I just like the look of having them up like this. I just think that looks cooler, so that's personally how I like to pose them. I really like the head sculpt. I will say they definitely nailed the head sculpt. I think they did a great job there. You got the purple plastic on the back for light piping. Really nice detail. Everything about the head looks really good to me. It's on a ball joint, so you can kind of rock it up and down. Not a ton, but a little bit. You can tilt side to side a good way. And then, of course, you can rotate side to side as well. He's got a hinge and a rotation here in the shoulder, bicep swivel, 90 degrees in the elbow. He's got a wrist swivel, which will come in handy for the transformation. He's got a waist swivel, as you can see there. You can kick out to the side pretty well, kick forward. Can't really kick all that much back because of the stinger. Pretty much 90 degrees there in the knee. You can actually bend a little bit backwards as well. And then he does have an ankle tilt from side to side. The stinger looks okay. I do like that it's a little bit back on the show. His stinger was almost like a tail. The original toy kind of had it so that it was like straight down and it kind of just got in the way of the leg. So I appreciate that it's not like that. You do have it a little bit out to the back here. Now you can see this little section is missing because that's where his gun pegs in. And I do think the gun is a little lazy. I mean, this doesn't really look like a gun. This just looks like he's holding his stinger. They tried to mold something underneath here, and if it was a situation where like this piece rotated or something and he could hold it upside down like that, I'd be a little bit more forgiving. But this literally just looks like he's holding the stinger piece, and that's just kind of lazy to me. I'm sorry. I don't really like that at all. I wish it was some kind of actual gun, or even if it was like a piece that you like flipped this back and there was a gun underneath or something, just something to kind of differentiate it from him just holding the back of his stinger, because that's really all it is. If you want, you can just go ahead and pop this in here if you want to leave that in. I think I'm just going to do that for the time being. And it does complete the look of the stinger on the back, and that actually works really well. But I don't know, that gun is really lazy to me. I mean, the original toy, I believe, had like a missile firing gimmick, and I didn't expect all that. But just something to just kind of mold it, you know, just so it looked a little bit more like a gun instead of literally just holding a piece of a bee, because that's really what it looks like. Yeah, he looks good. I like him. I really don't like the insect legs here. Just, they get in the way of everything, and even if it was just so that they just pegged in and you could just unpeg them, and then I could just have a nice clean robot mode and then peg them in when I want to transform, I would appreciate. But unfortunately. I mean, I guess technically I can if I rock these out, because they're just kind of mushroom pegs. And it really is fighting me, but you can kind of see if I zoom in here. It's kind of like almost ratcheted mushroom pegs, so I don't know. You might be able to get them out of there. I feel like I'd probably just break it if I tried, but it depends. I mean, if you're going to leave them in robot mode all the time, you could snap them off if you really wanted to. I'm not going to. But they just get in the way. I just don't love that they get in the way. But otherwise, he looks pretty cool. I mean, I think he looks good in terms of color scheme. I think the purple's really nice for the translucent wings as well as the eyes. And then you have the compound bug eyes down here, which are really nice. We'll get to more of that in the Wasp mode. But yeah, honestly, I like the robot mode with the exception of the legs. I wish they were detachable. But anyway, let's go ahead. Let's get into the Wasp transformation. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is just push the two halves of the Wasp head together. They'll just kind of snap together like so, and then you can kind of lift this up and let that hang out of the way. This whole section is going to kind of pull forward and accordion out, and then lift up, and there's a very tiny little peg right here, which is going to peg in right there. So this just kind of drops in, and then you kind of push this up, and that will peg into place there like so. And then you can kind of angle the Wasp head however you like it. If you want it down, you can all the way up. You have a little bit of maneuverability there. Let me zoom out a little bit. You're going to have this come in like this. This will, of course, go out to the side for the foot, or I guess leg, whatever you want to call these things. The hands will rotate like that. And then you're going to bring this down. And there's the tiniest little tab here right on the inside of the wrist. And that is going to tab in right here. So this is going to come down, and then this is going to tab in there, and just make sure you line it up. And sometimes it can take a little bit to get this lined up. There we go. So we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to move this in, spin this to the side, and then rotate the hand 90 degrees. And then this is going to come in and peg in. And it's kind of nice because the hands kind of fit into this little like divot area right there. So it really does compact in pretty nicely. And then you can kind of just play with the Wasp legs to get them into place. So you can see we kind of have the front of the Wasp taking shape here. We're going to go ahead and pop this down. Then you're going to kind of bring these up out of the way. This is going to rotate 180 degrees like so. Then you're going to kind of bring this up, and this section is going to kind of peg into this little area right here. You can kind of see how there's like a little slit, and that's where this is going to come up and peg in just like that. And then you can see how the like thighs are going to kind of blend into the stinger here. You're going to bring these around, the heels, they're going to flip around to the front, and then kind of bring this about like so. These are going to come up, and then this little piece here is going to kind of fit in here. I think this comes up. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to bring this part down. Now these are going to come up, and we make sure that goes in there. And then you kind of peg these together, but they don't really peg together. You can see how that kind of notches in there. It doesn't really stay all that well, I got to be honest. And then that just kind of pops in there, and then these just kind of go up about as far as you can get them. And then you swivel the legs down, and then you can move the wings around like so. So there is the Wasp mode. It's not bad. I do like the stinger. I think the stinger is pretty successful, and I kind of like how there's an angle to it. It's not just sticking straight out the back. Again, I don't really remember the Thrilling 30 Waspinator all that much, but I very much remember the original toy. And the original toy had the stinger like just kind of stick straight out, and it had the robot legs like swivel around on a ball joint and then just kind of hang off the back, and I never really understood what that was supposed to be. So yes, you can pretty much just see the robot arms and the robot legs right here in the undersection of the Wasp, but I think it's better than having the complete robot legs just hang off the back like the original toy did. And I do really like the Wasp legs in the Wasp mode. I think they really do work, and it kind of balances the figure very nicely. If I bring this down, it's just a shame that there's no way to compact them down or store them in the robot mode because they really just get in the way of the robot mode. But they do work really well for the wasp mode. So I do like that. I think the wasp mode is pretty successful. I really like the head. You have these little mandibles up here that you can swivel around side to side, which is nice. These little antennas. Again, you can move the head up and down. You have a nice range of motion there, so you can, whatever you like. You have the ball joint here for the wings, so those can move around as well. You can swivel the legs. I like the angle to the stinger. So all in all, I think it's a pretty successful wasp mode. I mean, with the exception of, being able to see the robot and legs and arms right here in the center. But honestly, it's not that big a deal. And because they're the same color as the body, it blends in a little bit. I mean, if you angle the legs just right, you can kind of cover the fists, and then you really don't see it all that much. It's really just kind of like the shins of the legs because they're yellow. So it's really not too bad. I think the wasp mode is actually pretty successful. So I gotta be honest, I'm a little underwhelmed with Waspinator. He's not great, he's not terrible, just kind of middle of the road. There are definitely some things that I do like. I love the head sculpt. I think they definitely nailed that. It looks very good. I like the translucent purple wings. A lot of time with wings, they go for clear, and I think the purple was a much better style choice for this one. I mean, the color schemes are great. Green, yellow, purple. These colors are always going to look good together. Articulation's good. I like that the stinger kind of sits back and is almost like a tail, just like on the show. It's not just kind of hanging down between his legs, which is something I really didn't like about the original figure. But they're just two really major drawbacks for me. And of course, that's going to be the insect legs. Those wasp legs are really just in the way of everything. I wish there was a way we could tuck them away somewhere or just unplug them. If it was just a way that I could just, unpeg them and have a nice clean robot mode, and then I could peg them back in later. I mean, maybe that made them too loose and maybe they fell out too much, or I don't even know if it's something they considered. I won't ever know that, but I wish that was an option because they really just, especially the ones on the legs, just really get in the way of everything. The ones on the arms are not too bad. They do hit the wings sometimes because of the way I like to pose the wings. Now, the directions I think have you just have the wings straight down. I just think they look cooler like this. But yeah, those insect legs just get in the way of everything. And I really don't care for the stinger weapon. It just feels lazy to me. It just looks like he's holding part of an insect stinger. It doesn't really resemble a gun in any way. They did try to mold something on the underneath, but you can't see it at all. Like, it will be one thing if they molded something underneath and then he flipped it around and held it with that part facing up. I wouldn't mind if this was the bottom of the weapon. That's perfectly fine, but it's just kind of a lazy weapon in my opinion. So those are the two biggest drawbacks for me. Other than that, he's a pretty decent figure. Like I said, color scheme, articulation, he looks good. And I really do like the head sculpt. I think they really nailed that. I think they really did a nice job there. So pluses and minuses, you're going to have to decide if you need them or not. Like I said, I don't 100% remember the Thrilling 30 Waspinator, but I kind of feel like that one was a little better than this, if I'm remembering it. Like I said, it's been so long, and I'd have to go look up pictures, but I remember really liking that one. Now, it could have just been because at the time, it was the first update to the original toy, and I felt like it was so much better than the original toy. This is still better than the original toy, in my opinion. I think it's definitely better than the original toy. I just don't know if it's better than the Thrilling 30. I'd have to go back and dig that one out to make a 100% conclusive determination there. But I can say that I do really think this is better than the original 90s toy. So again, you're going to have to decide if you need him or not. I think he's definitely not one of the stronger entries in this line. He's fine, but if you're on a budget, I definitely could recommend some others to you that are much better. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Am I being too hard on him? What do you think? Let me know below. Please like, please share, please subscribe, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.